Juliet steps into the toxic wasteland, and the steel doors slam shut behind her. Inside Silo 18, Mayor Bernard tightens his grip on the compliant citizens. But absolute control is a fragile illusion. If you need a quick refresher, this underground bunker protects the last remnants of humanity from a poisoned surface. Season 2 starts after that wild cliffhanger and raises the stakes for everyone inside. Let's break down every dark secret. Juliet crests the hill in her cleaning suit, completely expecting to die. Instead, she finds a desolate wasteland littered with mummified corpses. And right past them sits the hollowed-out entrance to Silo 17. She breaks inside, shattering the foundational lie of her entire life. There isn't just one bunker, there are 50 of them. Silo 17 is a graveyard. The upper levels are completely abandoned, and the lower levels are swallowed by floodwaters. Juliet pieces together a makeshift bridge to reach the IT department, which collapses the second she crosses it. Trapped, she follows the faint sound of music to a locked vault door. A voice on the other side warns her to back off. Naturally, she ignores him. While Juliet plays survival horror next door, Silo 18 is tearing itself apart. Mayor Bernard Holland watches her suit feed cut out and realizes he has a massive problem on his hands. Her survival is a lit match in a powder keg. He slaps down a mandatory curfew and puts his deputies on high alert. But Mechanical isn't having it. A worker named Teddy gets locked up for painting Juliet lives on the wall. Shirley starts organizing secret meetings outside of curfew. Bernard tries to placate the masses with a speech claiming IT produced a new tape that allowed Juliet to survive longer. He insists she's still dead. The upper levels buy it, but the lower levels know better. Robert Sims decides to play dirty. He offers an incarcerated man named Patrick a memory-wiping drug to forget his dead wife, provided Patrick acts as an agitator. The plan works perfectly. Patrick throws a firebomb at the deputies during a protest. The riot squad moves in, and the new engineer Cooper gets killed in the chaos. Bernard realizes Judge Meadows is becoming a liability. He invites her to dinner and serves a meal laced with poisoned mushrooms. As the toxin sets in, he forces a VR headset over her eyes. She dies watching a vibrant, fake projection of a healthy Earth. Then Bernard props her body up in Judicial to frame Knox and Shirley for the murder. Sims whips up an angry mob and sends them after the Mechanical leaders. But his own wife, Camille, intercepts Knox and Shirley and helps them escape. She knows Bernard is out of control. And Bernard proves her right by demoting Sims, stripping him of his security command, and mockingly making him the new judge. Furious and humiliated, Sims agrees with Camille. They need to play both sides to survive. Back in Silo 17, the man in the vault finally steps out. His name is Solo. He's a deeply traumatized survivor who has been living in isolation for decades. Juliet needs a firefighter suit to get back home, but it's trapped in the flooded levels. She builds an air pump and begs Solo to guide her down. Solo admits they have a much bigger problem. The water is rising fast, and it will flood IT in 10 months unless Juliet fixes the main pump. She attempts a deep dive into the submerged infrastructure. Something snags her air supply. She nearly drowns in the pitch black before clawing her way back to the surface. When she catches her breath, she finds evidence of a struggle. Someone else is down here. An arrow catches her in the shoulder. She turns to find Audrey, the leader of a feral group of teenage survivors. And Audrey wants Solo dead. Audrey blames Solo for killing their parents years ago. Backed into a corner, Solo finally breaks down. He confesses that when the rebellion happened, he was just a terrified kid. He locked the adults out of the vault to save himself, leaving them to die. Juliet steps in and mediates a tense standoff. She forces them to see they are all victims of the same broken system, forging a fragile peace. Over in Silo 18, Bernard cuts off food and power to the lower levels. Knox responds by weaponizing heavy construction equipment. He leads the mechanical rebels in a brutal push against the riot police. They drive the judicial barricades up 10 floors and seize the critical farms. Civil unrest is officially a civil war. Bernard needs leverage, so he goes after Martha Walker. He blackmails her out of her 25-year isolation by threatening her wife Carla. Walker becomes his reluctant informant. Meanwhile, Deputy Paul Billings starts poking around the missing bodies and the dead judge. When Billings tries to open a formal investigation, Bernard simply cuts his radio feed. Bernard has a side project. He pulls Lukas Kyle from the mines and makes him his new shadow. He brings Lukas into the Legacy, a hidden vault filled with preserved artifacts and the true history of the silo. Lukas is tasked with decoding a forbidden book cipher left by Salvador Quinn, a past rebel. Bernard explains that Quinn drugged the water a century ago to erase everyone's memories and stop the 20-year rebellion cycle. Lukas cracks the cipher using a copy of The Wizard of Oz. The clues lead him down a dark, flooded shaft to a hidden mechanical room. A computer voice addresses him by name. It warns him not to tell anyone what he has seen, or it will initiate something called the Safeguard. Lukas is terrified. Billings finally snaps. His wife Kathleen shows him a forbidden picture book page from the before times. He realizes the founders lied about everything. He hands the page over to Sims, pushing Sims and Camille entirely over the edge. They are done taking orders from a tyrant. The Civil War hits its boiling point. Walker feeds Bernard fake intel through a hacked camera, tricking him into sending his raiders down low. While Judicial moves down, the rebels move up. Pete sacrifices himself, blowing up the stairs to trap the raiders in the lower levels. The top-level deputies defect, and Patrick whips the citizens into a frenzy. Lukas confronts Bernard about the AI room and quits on the spot. A defeated Bernard hands the vault key to Sims. But when Sims and his family try to hide inside, the Legacy system scans them. It declares that only Camille is allowed to stay. Sims is locked out in the cold. Over in Silo 17, Solo warns Juliet about the Safeguard. It's an automated protocol that pumps enough poison gas to kill every living thing inside a silo. Juliet grabs the firefighter suit and makes her run back to Silo 18. She breaches the airlock just as the rebellion peaks. The citizens celebrate her return, but she holds up a desperate message warning them not to leave. Juliet forces her way inside, right as Bernard tries to escape. The two of them end up locked inside the incinerator together. The machine fires up, leaving their fate completely up in the air. And just to twist the knife, we get a flashback to Washington, D.C. A woman named Helen discusses a dirty bomb and a potential war with Iran, finally letting the true origin of the silos bleed through. For generations, the concrete kept the danger out. Now the threat is locked inside with them. The illusion of safety is broken, and there is no going back. The only way forward is into the dark.